Hi guys, today we're going to be talking about positive and negative space. Our objectives are be able to observe and accurately define the negative space of a subject, and second, to develop skill in creating accurate proportions when drawing. So we're going to explore space and shape, which are both elements of art. Our two words worth knowing are negative space. So negative space is the empty space around and between the subject, and then positive space. Positive space is the space a subject occupies. Here are some examples of logos. So these would be considered graphic design, and all of these use a really nice balance of positive and negative space. So if we're looking at the N that's in the middle, for instance, that negative space is a dog shape. If we're looking next door at the peacock, they're using that negative space to create the body of the bird. If we look at the key on the left, they're using that negative space to have that city within the key. So using negative space effectively can help your design, for instance, in these graphic design examples, and it's also crucial to being able to draw things in proportion and correct. So positive and negative space. Positive space is the actual space the subject occupies. So for in this instance, it is the chair, the actual chair. The spaces around and in between the chairs are what we consider negative space. So the space between that beautiful line, those really nice organic-y type of shapes in that chair. So anything around and between. I also like to explain it as a donut. So the donut itself is your positive space. The donut hole in the middle will be your negative space. So it's really crucial that you understand this. The Rubin vase or figure ground vase is a psychological image that was developed in 1915, and it's meant to be ambiguous. So when you're looking at it one way, you see the faces, right? But then your brain flips and then you can see the vase. So this is a really excellent example of the relationship between positive and negative space and how they complement one another. So let's look at some examples. So where do you see positive and negative space in this? So remember, positive is the space the subject occupies. So one, think, what is the subject? So yes, the subject is the spray bottle, and that would be considered the positive space. So if we break it down, the black in this image would be the positive space. So now if we flip it, what is the negative space? Remember, the negative space is the space around and between the subject. So it would be all of that space around the spray bottle. So if we were to break this down, all the black in here would be the negative space. So how you draw this is really important to keeping your drawing accurate. So again, just to review, the positive space is the actual spray bottle in black at the top. And then if we flip it, at the image at the bottom, that is your negative space. So it's all the space around your subject. So remember, negative space is essential. So when you're drawing a 2D artwork, a balance of positive and negative space can create what's called a dynamic composition. So this is a Japanese woodblock print, and it's called The Great Wave. It's by Katsushika Hokusai. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. And it displays an almost equal balance between positive and negative space. So if you just broke it down into the space, it has this beautiful yin-yang type of feeling to it, right? Kind of like those graphic design examples I showed you from the beginning. So understanding the balance between positive and negative space also helps you when you're designing your composition for your overall project. And then also being able to render this space correctly is essential to establishing realism in your drawings. So on this example on the left, they're showing you how to create an envelope and then figuring out the negative space to get the fingers accurately in that drawing. So if you're trying to draw realistically, you really need to pay attention to the shape of the negative space as much or probably even more than the positive space. So you can use a viewfinder, a grid, or any kind of measuring tool to help keep the spaces accurate. So remember, you can use your pencil, and I have viewfinders, grids. There's all sorts of ways to make sure you're keeping this accurate. And last, Shape. So shape is an enclosed space with a defined edge. Shape and space, like I said before, are elements of art. Geometric shapes have regular sides and edges. So think our math shapes: squares, circles, polygons, triangles. Organic shapes are really irregular. They're shapes found in nature. So blobby shapes, butterfly shapes, plants, so things that are kind of free-flowing. So you need to identify in your drawing what you're drawing, and is that shape of that space, that positive or negative space, is it organic or geometric, and then draw accordingly. So I'm going to have you guys do a little bit of practice, and you're going to do a practice worksheet first, and then you're going to do a bike exercise where I would like you to shade the negative space and leave the positive space blank. I'll have examples in class. I also will have a demo. And then our final project is we're going to be drawing from references or from life, depending on your choice. And we're going to be focusing on the negative space. So we're going to be creating a background design. And then I will also have a demo on how to do that and plenty of examples. So I can't wait to see what you guys do. Good job.